Hey, so this is going to be just a quick exercise for us to go through a simple systems map using Kumu. Really nice piece of software I can demonstrate here for you. And with that, we'll also go through an interesting case study. We're just going to map out our relationships in the community relating to art and tech together to see how they interact with one another. So I'm going to first start by sharing my screen. That makes sense. Okay, here now. And so I've already created a project for this. We're going to go open project again. This is Kumo we're using. Hope the audio is okay. Okay, so you first see the screen here. It's split between description side and obviously the model side, right? So you can use this icon over here to add an element, but I'm going to click E, add element. But first, actually, before that, one really important thing to do is to first start out by thinking about all of the elements that might be included in this map. So I can give you some time to try and map it out yourself first. So again, like right now, the case here is we're mapping out all of our existing relationships in both art and technology within a geography. Let's say Berlin, for example, right? So it's good to take some time first and just like literally note down all of the existing relationships you have. And those will be nodes, obviously, right? So, or maybe not so obvious yet, but yeah, let's take 30 seconds here, maybe a minute, and just write down all the relationships you might think you have, and then we can dive into them a bit deeper. And the difficult part about this exercise, once you're going through, you'll see as I'm saying myself here, is that it's hard to um, determine what should be a node on the map, right? A lot of what this entire space of this entire discipline is to the purpose is to understand forces that interact with one another within the system. And obviously, as you might expect, there are things that you don't even understand yet or don't even have perception for. So in this example here, I'm mapping out a lot of orgs that I know, but there are things that affect my relationship to the orgs or the things that affect my experience of okay, well, our topic right now is art, that I don't even have a perception of yet. So this is a map that you should continue to build over time, because some of the things that come up that you will build your map out with first um, might not be relevant even in 2 days or a couple days, because um, everything changes within the system like very fluidly, and your priorities as well will change. So let's get mapping it out, and then I think you'll see over time, you'll see, okay, so I'm gonna make some elements here. So one org is gonna be this local collective called PIM. They're a local collective, about like 15 people. Another one is there's gonna be an artist residency program at Factory, their local residency program at a workspace I'm working at. So I'll put Factory. Are there any interactions between these two groups? No, so we're not going to connect the nodes. On the text side, we have Interaxon / Muse. We also have, no, not renaming. We also have Brain FM, obviously on the tech side, company that I'm working for right now. And see, in looking at this already, you'll see that there's not a lot of connectedness within the system. There's not a lot of interaction between the system. You know, for example, this collective isn't part of this program. This company isn't interacting with this company. But even just laying things out like this, you start to see that, hey, why isn't there a relationship made between these? No. Yeah, connect. Why isn't there a relationship between these orgs? Because Brain FM develops AI functional music, and Interaxon is brain sensing headband. So there's a potential for interaction and collaboration there, but you wouldn't expect it, or if it weren't for you mapping it out, right? And obviously, there's a lot more nuance to it than this. For example, Brain FM can be dissected into many other different nodes, right? Like under an org, you have not just what the technology is, you have what the people are. Like the people itself can be resources. For example, if I know that, I don't know, if I know that Brain FM includes someone named Connor, and he's the lead composer for this piece of software, and you know that, for example, this residency is looking for people who compose um, for tech related developments, then that's like a potential either collaboration relationship, or at least uh, the point here, the biggest point is it at least creates it creates a signal for like further examination on what this could be, right? Because, for example, I'm just brainstorming what, like just off the top, what this connection could be is um, I don't know, Connor becomes a judge, a curator for this program, or this program, in order to promote their program, they look to represent people like Connor, and then through that, they're connected to Brain FM, and who knows what collaborations or relationships might form between these two groups, right? And there might be even different reasons why these two groups might collaborate. For example, maybe they might provide, Brain FM might provide free software to Factory, or Factory might provide a free audience to Brain FM, and they might be within the same market together. So again, the biggest point here being that when you map it out, you have at least a space to begin thinking about the relationships, And when you have a space to begin thinking about these relationships, then you can see what types of, in systems theory, it's called like emergence, which is like a pretty lofty term I'm still trying to understand. But essentially what it is that when two nodes in a system interact, they produce, it's either that they produce something, um, they see, so clearly I'm still not clear on this to express it myself. But essentially the way it described is like 1 + 1 = 3, right? So when two things interact with one another, they create an end result that's greater than the sum, or the sum is greater than the individual parts combined together. That's a pretty basic idea, but it's not just it's not just that they create something that can be added together. It's also that they bring out in one another like latent functions that would not exist unless they were together. So a really good example that I was taught very very recently is an example of a slinky, right? Like the slinky example is like this. So um, I'm holding a slinky in both of my hands, right? And it's kind of tied together like this. I wish I had it to show, but a slinky is connecting both hands right now. And then I drop one hand, and you see the slinky go like that. And then I ask you, okay, so what caused the slinky to do that? And then you'll say, oh, it's because like the slinky is it went over like that because of the physical properties, like how it stretches, um, of like the stretchiness or whatever of that's a property of the slinky, right? Um, that makes it do that. Like, shoot, audio is not working. 1 second. Okay, so I'm back. I don't know what happened there. Okay, let me just explain this one again because I think I badly explained it. Okay, so a teacher she holds a slinky. This is Donna Meadows, who was known to be like the leading system thinker before she passed away in like 2007. But anyway, so her leading example is this: you're holding a slinky in both hands. It's connected end to end. One hand holding one end of the slinky, the other hand holding another end of the slinky. She removes one hand, and then obviously the other end drops down, right? And the other end, one end drops down, and one end is still being held by the remaining hand. And then she asks, okay, so why did that happen? And the most obvious answer would be because you moved your hand. Because you moved your hand, the slinky did that. Then she does the same example where she uses a pencil. With one end of the pencil she holds with one hand, and the other end pencil she also holds with one hand. Then she also says, okay, so now I'm going to remove a hand. She removes her hand, and obviously the pencil doesn't do that. It doesn't like uh, swag over, like lean over like the slinky did, and then bounce back and forth. Um, and then so that is like that is her basically her example of why of how when so she let me finish off the example. So when that happens, she says, okay, so clearly it's not the pencil is the reason. Clearly it's not the hand being removed that makes the slinky do that, because if you remove the hand from a pencil, the pencil doesn't do that. It's actually because the removing the hand interacts with the Slinky in a way that brings out something that's latent within it. So again, like let me say that one more time. So it's the fact that when you remove when you interact with the Slinky in that way, it creates a behavior that's latent within it. Um, and that interaction creates something more than what you would expect. And so that's like commonly used now as a big example of how system theory works. And so now let's jump back to our graph here and start to map things out a bit better. So as you see here, there's two nodes that are kind of similar, and we might be able to just place them together, closer together here. And that makes it easier to, let's go basic editor, go back. And we can make a cluster out of this. So there's functionality to color. You can color by element type. And then you can give this an element type. This could be tech. And then go over here. Element type. Color. So every time there's an element type here, it'll automatically change to whatever you want it to be. We'll change it to, let's say, like a nice blue. Okay, cool. So you see that there. Okay, so anything with the label tech will have the color blue, so that makes it easier on the eyes. How do I fucking get back? Oh, it's up here. Okay. So we can see we built out a very skeleton map. It's not actually useful when you have so few nodes. Actually, arguably it can be useful. It's more important how connected nodes are. But as you can see, as time goes on, we start to add more connections to this map. Then it becomes useful, and as well when we start exploring the relationships between the nodes, um, that's where it becomes like a systems map becomes to take the most value. Again, a reminder is that this is simply an interface to view everything, every relationships and map relationships out with. It's completely useless without the right type of observation and analysis. So that's what I got for you today. If there's any questions, just let me know.